It's very rare that I get to take over, but today I'm showing you something that I did not think I could actually ever do, and I feel like I should get a lot of credit for it, but I also feel like I should show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of this. So, let's go check out the garden. I think every garden should have a coffee cup holder. This garden is in progress. This is not going to be a before and after, but it will be a here's how it started, here's how it's going, and then later in the summer you'll get some more of like what's actually worked and what didn't. And I have some already from our first planting that did not work, so I'll show you. Let's start with tomatoes. And I can't actually tell you what these are because I bought them from a friend. And the good, bad, and ugly of tomatoes is that they taste amazing, but you probably should like have them staked up. So I thought, hey, foolishly, we could just put this against the fence. That's gonna serve as the stake. Except that half my like really thriving tomato plant is growing on the outside, which is right where all the chickens are, and they're just gonna get eaten. And I wanna kick myself for that. But the good of them is that this fencing has given them such a good stable spot that the ones that are growing inside are actually growing well. And I have a very first tomato that I just found today, and you have to see it. It's the only one I found, and I think it's true that it's the only one on here yet, but look at that little cutie nugget. It's so small.
You're so excited.
I am very, very excited. And then these are huge blossoms. I have never grown tomatoes. In our Katie garden, Bo basically grew everything and I just came through and weeded, which was great. Something I didn't know about.
But that means that you have done all of this. I have built beds. I have not done any planting.
I feel valid. Like I feel like I could say I'm a gardener. I'm a learning gardener. I am a practicing gardener. Something I didn't know as a beginner gardener is what strawberries do. So if you've never grown strawberries, let me introduce you to them. We bought 5 strawberry plants, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We bought 6 strawberry plants. I didn't know that strawberries were like the octopus of the garden. And they just tendril out, and like little octopus suckers, they grow new baby octopus strawberries off of them. I also feel like maybe I just came up with a new name of strawberry breed. You're welcome to take it if you are a strawberry breeder. These strawberry tendrils came off of this one plant and then grew, and it's actually rooting right here to grow a whole nother strawberry plant. So we just learned that strawberries are gonna be a really easy plant to propagate. So right here, we didn't buy this strawberry plant here. It just grew off of the tendrils. All you would have to do if you're looking to make extra income off your homestead is dig this up when it's a little bit bigger and repot it into a smaller vessel. And then if you had even just 10 of these, you can take them and sell them for like $5 a pop at the farmer's market. So they're perennials. Jess at Roots and Refuge said one thing she would do is grow perennials sooner in her garden. So I was like, heck yeah, I'll do strawberries. I just didn't know what they'd turn into, and now we have whole beds full of strawberries. Pro tip, so in the first year, any of the buds, this will turn into like a white flower, but any of the buds that you see, you want to pluck, and then next year it'll kind of be a larger, stronger, more fruitful plant. That's what people tell me. We're still in year 1, but I'm trusting in the process. This is really cool. A friend of mine, Sewing Against the Grain, Neely, sent me these loofah. And I had this vision, like if we could get loofah, we could grow these gourds, and then everybody that I've seen that does loofah slices them up and it becomes their dish sponge. It becomes their like shower scrub. And this loofah plant is just a gourd that grows, and then you dry it out, and the inside is this like sustainable fiber. We have a few of those growing. This one here is kind of binding up my tomatoes, which isn't terrible, except the tomatoes will probably come out before the loofah does, so we need to train this over here. But on the other side, one of them is really thriving. So this one's going. It doesn't have any blossoms, but it's gonna blossom out just like other vining fruits. And we probably should get it back in so that the chicken ninjas do not come and stealthily steal away all my loofah. So that's kind of this side of the bed. And we did this L shape in a cool, I don't know, like for a cool purpose. So Bo was like, hey, we can do the garden beds that I'm gonna show you in a minute, but we could also create this perimeter garden bed. So that's what we're looking at putting perennials into, so that these are the crops we plant now and then they continue to grow and they're gonna add so much value. That was rude. You guys are gonna be like, hey, if Kelly can do this, anyone can, and here's why. I followed explicitly the seed packet directions on when to plant and how to plant my pole beans. And then they grew, and I realized they are not pole beans, they are bush beans. But we have a lot of them, so if you're worried about whether you're gonna
Wait, so did the packet say pole beans?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
so
think
you
I just
thought.
had in my mind, here it is how these beans grow. French green beans must climb like all other beans I've ever grown. Never successfully, because everything eats my beans. But here's what's cool. This is not at all planted properly. In fact, these are two different, like I put 2 beans in the hole and then 2 plants came up. You should thin them before that, but look, like these are completely edible. In fact, I'm going to cook these tonight. I didn't even see it back here. I'm gonna cook these tonight with our very last delicious bit of pork. We have spare ribs from our pigs from last summer, and I'm gonna cook these beans with them. I think I can do a cinnamon apple with them and then have the pork, and I'm really excited. Bo's eyes behind the camera are like, that's exciting to eat food from your homestead. Like, you guys could really do that. And it's kind of crazy to be able to say that from a place of experience. But these beans are all doing really, really well. This is a bad mamma jamma. And it is full of water. Like, there is no hollowness in this. We got the water from our huge rain tanks in the back. It's like 5,000 gallons. In fact, it's thundering right now and we're just about to add to our rain tank system. But we ran a hose with a pressurized pump from the rain tank out to this one. And so this is just another water storage tank. And it's really narrow in profile. But what we can do is just drain this whole tank into our garden. And the plan is a drip irrigation system. So when you come back for the next garden tour update, Lord willing, we're gonna have drip irrigation through this L bed, through the next one that I'm about to show you, and then probably through our rows in our garden. I forgot to say there's carrots in there. And there's radishes on the other side, but Finley's pulled up almost all of them. And nasturtium, but they don't have their blossoms yet. But these are supposed to keep the bugs attracted to the nasturtium and not the rest of my beans. Last year we had a huge problem with bugs and beans, and so I didn't get to eat any of them. These are the passion flower vines we got a few months ago, and they're not at their worst yet. Like, there's still some decent green, but everything that we got is already like kind of going yellow. When we first bought these a few months ago, and I wanted to get these to vine across the fence. These will be perennials, and they will produce a really pretty flower that then I could use in tea. So my next year's goal is to grow a bunch of like medicinal flowers and herbs, and then put them into a dehydrator and create our own teas. On that same next video, these are definitely gonna already be in a bed, right, Bo? We're gonna have these already done.
Hey, the bed is built.
I know, you built the bed. I have to fill the bed. Something we didn't talk about in the fodder tree, like tree hay video, was the fig trees, and they are popping off. This one only has one little figgy on it, but we have tried and epically failed at fig starters in the past. Like, getting fig cuttings from friends has not been successful for us. So we just went to a local nursery. These are Black Mission figs, and then this one is insanely prolific. I think there are dozens, like we're up to dozens of figs now. And these are the largest at the top. And then there's some wee baby ones down here.
Oh wow, I haven't seen
I know,
those
and
ones.
one all the way down here.
Holy moly.
So this one's, I think brown turkey figs. And all of these should be great for jam or roasting. They're gonna be fantastic with goat cheese on like fresh sourdough. Obviously, I am gardening for myself to eat the food because right now it's lunchtime and I'm like, I want all of these things. Just like all of these ones around, these fodder trees, the figs are in the big tub so that we can grow them, and then eventually we'll plant them in the ground when we have irrigation and everything set up, because this is just like step by step. I would feel really overwhelmed and fail at all of it if we tried to do it all now. One of the things we don't suck at is propagating these sweet potatoes. When they're like 6 inches, these slips, we can take them off and then we can root them and then put them into the ground, and these will just kind of go like the strawberries. They'll just tuber out into the mound. That is the rudest rooster. They're gonna tuber out into the ground, and then the top is gonna be covered in the leaves like this. They're so soft. Gardening's cool. If we had done a before and after, this would be the before and that would be the after. So this bed is built from the not salvaged wood, well some of it actually is salvaged from our old house, like old cedar that Bo was like crazy and I thought he was ridiculous for saving this wood and then bringing it 2 hours north to our house. And now we're actually building a garden out of it. Salvaged wood, and then this is the discounted Home Depot wood. And these are just cedar posts that are reinforcing this L-shaped bed. The L-shaped beds are gonna give us an easier perimeter to like an edge where we're not having to try and wrestle with anything coming up through this fence as I, try and weed eat or whatever. We're kind of sandwiching between the fence, the outside and the inside of the bed. And the next step for this bed is gonna be to put down just fallen sticks and branches, kind of hugelkultur the bottom of the bed. And then we'll mix in everything from the rabbit poop and fertilizer to like some gardening soil and some other nutrients just right there in the bed. And we're gonna kind of lasagna that up. And then we'll put in plants and starts. I have, let's think, tomatillos and ground cherries and the passion fruit vines that are for sure going in here. And then the one thing that we have not done that is like critical to our summer gardening is cucumbers. So we need massive, massive amounts of cucumbers. In fact, just for like our family's eating and enjoyment, I don't think this bed is enough for cucumbers. I think we're gonna need an entirely different cucumber bed. These L-shaped beds are gonna eventually go around like the whole space, but even when they're not L-shaped, they're gonna still be 2 feet because this way you can like reach across. So from one inside edge of the bed until the back fence, this is gonna be 2 feet. And then on the back side, it'll have like metal and that holds everything in. So this is how we can make the most out of beds in this space and still be like taking care of the soil underneath, which is very, very dense clay. Future garden bed right here. That's what that is. And then herbs in pots, and there's actually cilantro growing in our green stock garden right now, and it is thriving. I think we just need to tweak where the sun is at, but here, all of these plants are getting morning sun and then sort of like an evening shade, not quite afternoon, but they're really doing well, and that's exciting. The kids come out here and they're just picking mint every single day. It's so fun. This is Ollie and Finn's favorite part of the garden. In fact, Ollie's interrupted me twice already asking if he can come out here and pick sugar snaps. The answer is yes, but like in a minute, dude. So
gotta film the video, man.
yeah, right. So these are hog panels because that's what we had, and they're in between the beds because that's how we did it. So you go ahead and you do you, boo. But if you want to do this how most people do, these T-posts would be further in the bed, and your hog panel or your cattle panel is going to be in your bed, and things will be really easy to vine up. So we had to stretch these sugar snap peas a little bit farther to get them to the trellis. But you can see, like, it still works. So they're climbing and vining, and hopefully we can catch them in the middle. So from this side coming over, and then these sugar snap peas coming over, and we'll just have this like little den to walk through to get to the other sides of the beds. It's really cool to actually see it growing because we didn't have a fence up last year. So like chickens devoured everything that we grew by the time it got to be, you know, 6 inches tall. So this is exciting this year. This bed is loaded with zucchinis. I have a little bit of dusty mildew that we need to take care of on these leaves. But in Houston, we rarely got this far because the vine borers found us in every single vining fruit we ever tried to grow. So this is like a payday for me to see that these zucchinis are growing. Almost everything you guys see is from starts with the exception of the beans. So being able to have access where someone started these off for us and we could harden them, this has made the difference between us actually eating in our garden and not.
What'd you just pick off?
I don't know, I think it was a moth, but I don't want any moth legs on my garden. 2 other things are the nasturtium, and these are peppers, and I don't know if we're doing those right, but it looks like maybe
No, they're
some
doing
little
right.
peppers are
We
like
just don't know if they're
doing.
sweet peppers or jalapenos.
These are all sweet. We don't have any jalapenos growing.
Oh man.
Yeah, but these are nothing good. These are,
Yeah, we need
but
to add
these are
them.
wild carrots, and they're no bueno. There's 2 little beds, and we're kind of figuring out how long we want to keep them this way, but right now they're primarily fodder. These massive plants are comfrey, and we can use these for a salve, like in the future for grown-up people, but right now they're really healthy for our rabbits, and we're hoping to pick up the rabbitry maybe at the end of the summer toward the fall, and this is going to be great to have that fodder already established. I kind of want to call this a fail. I mean, like, I don't want to give up, but the radishes in the first bed compared to these little weenie radishes that are yellow and looking kind of pathetic, just like, we have to own that something is off in the biome of this bed, and we just need to amend it so we can grow something fantastic in here. So my encouragement is, if you are in the spot where your garden's just not working, it's totally okay to be like, all right, let's do this better, and just rip it up or give it a little extra time if you need to, but there's nothing wrong with starting over, and we have to start over in this for sure. We have a totally empty bed that we haven't touched yet. So if you're in the midst of looking at your fail and you're like, feeling defeated, you can still do this. So I've showed you everything that's fruiting and good, and it wouldn't be very much our style if I didn't show you another angle. Welcome to my patch of wild carrots, which offer you no carrot whatsoever. It's like so disappointing when you see this and you're like, this must be amazing. I'm sure there's some foraging benefit to this, but it's not gonna give me as much fruiting or yummy plants that we wanna eat as utilizing this space. Oh, but I do have one resilient nature thing to show you. One of the healthiest plants is this guy that came totally volunteered, and there are 2 tomatoes I just noticed on it. That's like
actually tomatoes.
fantastic out of yesterday. These weren't here yesterday. So that's really cool. And I think that just came out of our compost. Just seeds grew into plants. And here we are. This is the only one. This was going to be all tomatoes. And none of them thrived. But, well, none of them even came up. Except this little hidden gem out from under. This is a cool regenerative ag thing. So our soil is about 2 or 3 inches of sand, and then beneath that it's like a good 18 inches of thick, compacted red clay. So growing things in the ground was just not realistic. Last year, our watermelons grew in this little mound where we'd had chickens in here digging through wood chips for months, and we never moved them. This is new topsoil created by wood chips. So I thought, hey, maybe maybe we can grow something directly into the soil. This was the attempt, and it's a good attempt. I don't think any of it's like fail. Like, I would say the fail in the bucket because it's so controlled and you're like, what do we do wrong? But here we kind of said, all right, what can we do with what we got? And we've proven that we can grow tomatoes in what we got, which is exciting. We know we're not doing so much wrong because we have a volunteer tomato, we have a volunteer potato, and a volunteer watermelon. This was like the first experiment thinking, could we grow things right into the earth? And this worked. This little mound of old wood chips worked. And it came back on its own. And that's crazy. Middle.
Okay.
If you liked a garden tour, which is a kind of new thing for us, then please like and subscribe, and that way I'll know, because if you do, then I'll keep bringing this every 2 weeks over the gardening season. Like, we for sure are gonna keep this going through the spring, then we'll have a totally different version in the fall. But if you like it, then I'll show you what we're eating, I'll show you what we're growing, and then hear from you guys what you're doing too. So thanks for coming to the first ever Better Together Life garden tour. It was really cool.
To like, she wants to like, he wants to like beat Pinkerton.
At her game.
Yeah.
Her game is muscle testing. And he wants to win.